When I was going to school and all, I was not at all into fitness, or I was not a health conscious. I used to see the American women, like no women there running, and I thought it is for them, not for an Indian woman. My trainer said, "Why don't you become a trainer? A lot of people are watching you and doing." My dad used to think I was like very playful and not very serious about academics or anything.
I think the family also plays a very important role on how much they support and how they make you feel.
I said, okay, let's try for a full marathon. I took whole 1 year to train for a full marathon.
Sometimes not having too much of internet is also a bane. So nowadays people read too much that sometimes, too much of information is bad also.
And we were the first Indian couple to earn 6-star medal. When you do something different, more challenging, you're challenging your body and mind, that's when you get the kick. If you have good coach, definitely it is good.
Hi everyone, this is Meenal here and welcome to my channel. This is that channel wherein we interview females in India who are into ultra running. Ultra running is anything running beyond 42 kilometers in one go. So these are basically super women who are running. And before I talk further, I would request all of you to please subscribe to the channel if you are liking the interviews or content that we are sharing. From there on, we have with me a very special guest, Sunita ma'am, who is another superwoman. And if I just talk about it, she's a runner who has been running since many, many years. So let's welcome Sunita ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming over and, agreeing to talk. So can you please let us know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, hi, how are you? Thank you for inviting me for the talk. Yes, I am Sunita Tummalapalli and I live in Hyderabad. I was born and brought up in a very small village from Andhra Pradesh, and I got married at the age of 19. Yeah, my marriage was fixed with, it was kind of arranged marriage, and I was only 14, and my husband was 17 when we got engaged, and I got married at the age of 19 and moved to US with him. He was doing his master's, and I joined him. And I did my master's in nutrition from West Virginia University. Then I have 3 children, 2 sons and a girl. My sons are 29 and 27 now, and my daughter is 19. So when they were like 2 years and 4 years, we moved back to India as my husband wanted to create jobs in India. So we moved back, and now I'm settled in Hyderabad. I became a Reebok certified trainer after moving back to India because I was really enjoying working out. Then I started my own fitness center, and I was training. I mean, it's a group training and in personal training too. Later on, when my daughter was like 1 year, I realized I'm hardly spending time with my 3 kids. So I was feeling very guilty because these gym hours are like early morning to afternoon, and again 3-4 o'clock till night. So I was not able to spend any time with them. So I stopped training, and I came out of my gym. And that's when I got into trekking with my friends. My first trek was Everest Base Camp trek, and that's how I got into trekking and long distance running. But now I've been working with underprivileged children ever since I stopped training, stopped my work in 2005. So I've been with the underprivileged
doing
children.
A lot of things. You don't mind, may I know what's your age currently?
I'm 54 years young.
And you don't look like that at all.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's an interesting journey, and I would really want to decode the parts of it. So, ma'am, if we see you were 19, you got married, and you moved to US, and before that, you've been living in the village. Am I right?
Yes.
So, ma'am, how was that shift from a village straight to the US? How did you adapt to it?
Very, very interesting. Actually, when I think about it, I feel so silly many times because that was the first time I got into a flight, and first time I had to talk in English. It was like big challenge for me, but I'm glad because I think I learned a lot because I was thrown into a very unknown place and unknown people. And I made a lot of friends, and like no, I my whole thing has changed coming from a small village going into a big city. I mean, like no, US, and even my undergrad in Andhra Pradesh was in Telugu medium. So when I went back and when I had to do my masters, I really had to struggle. Reading one page at a time used to take so much of time because I couldn't understand. Though I knew English, learning subject or speaking is completely different thing. And it was a challenge, but I did well and I really enjoyed my education there.
Awesome.
And even my parents are all surprised that I could do so well academically because they always thought I was very playful and not very serious about my education. But when they saw how I was doing in my master's, they were all like, even my teachers from schools were surprised that what Sunita is doing masters there. It was like that. So,
all right. So how long did you stay in US?
10 years.
Okay, 10 years you were there and then coming back. Okay, that's a big shift, being there for 10 years and then coming. So as I think you just said, it was a conscious decision to move back to India to create more jobs for the people out there, Indian people out there. So ma'am, first of all, okay, when did you start, working out has been always a part of your life, or you started at a particular time, and why?
And when I was in US, like when I was going to school and all, I was not at all into fitness, or I was not health conscious, and I was like weighing way below my weight. Actually, I was underweight kind of thing. So I never even thought of losing weight or working out, especially I think for women going from India, like married women, you think it is like done. You just marry, like have kids and take care of home and that kind of attitude, right? I used to see the American women as like women they're running, and I thought it is for them, not for an Indian woman. So I never even went for walks actually. So, but after having my sons, when I put on weight, I wanted to lose. I started working out. I started going to the gym. Then I was really enjoying those aerobics classes.
Which year was that?
In 95.
Oh, long back.
Yeah, my sons were born in 93 and 95. That was the time. Around 94, 95, I started working out just to lose weight. Pregnancy weight. Then when we moved back to India in 98, I continued my aerobics classes. And that's when actually I saw a lot of women were following me. Like, they were trying to see do what I was doing, because the moves are little different from the aerobic classes here. So when the trainer was doing something and my hand movements are like little different or rhythmic, because that's what I was doing in US. So a lot of people, like women, were watching me. And so my trainer said, why don't you become a trainer? A lot of people are watching you and doing. I said, yeah, why not? I didn't want to work full time anyway. So I thought this would be something that I'm enjoying and it didn't have to be a full time job. So I did Reebok certified course in 2000, I think, 2000. Then, but it was never a part-time thing because I got so many personal clients and I started my own fitness center for women, thinking I'd work from home kind of thing. So it became an addiction kind of thing. One after another, I was taking a lot of clients and it became more than a full-time job. So after doing that for a few years, I said, I'm really missing my kid because my husband, since it's an offshore development, he keeps traveling to US. So I thought at least I should be there, spending time with them. So that's when I decided to quit my job, and in 2005 actually. 2005.
So, okay, somewhere around 4-5 years you did training. You delivered the training, basically you train people. Or it must be a very roller coaster ride, right? From a village shy girl, going to the US, coming back and, training people. That too physical training. It's not that common. So I really want to understand, when you were taking these training sessions, was it only for women or for combined male and women both?
When I took aerobics classes, it could be anyone. Few
Okay.
men, very few men come for aerobics classes, but it was not just women aerobics class. When I took personal training, it is more of women. I mean, most because I'm not into that men's weight training and that kind of stuff I couldn't do. But since I have a background in nutrition, I was able to give diet to my clients. So that helped actually. They complemented each other. My nutrition degree and Reebok certified course. Both the academic backgrounds help, complemented
Is
each
it
other.
something like you could ever think, being a child, that you will do that kind of a job, or that's something that just happened on the way?
Just happened on the way. I never thought. Like while studying also, my dad used to say, okay, finish your undergrad, you will get married. And that was in my mind. I never thought I'll do my further studies, masters or anything. I was always very active as a kid. I was into playing anything, like any sport, volleyball, basketball, anything I could find. But not at a competitive level, because I was from a village and we didn't have any exposure or opportunities to compete actually. So it was more of just playing. I would never sit in one place. I was always climbing walls or climbing trees. So that's why my dad used to think I was like very playful and not very serious about academics or anything.
It's so lovely, ma'am. I think, personally myself also, when I see this English long, tall women, so muscular, it's very easy to think they are built like that. But, we can also be trained like that. But we don't get that kind of environment, or we don't have people to look forward to, or in our own minds we set it, we can't do it. But when some people break that chain or break that stereotype, then others follow through. So I think that's what is happening in India, right? People are trying to follow up on running now that they see many people going ahead and ahead.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, lovely. The way you think, I also thought a lot about, in a similar fashion. In fact, it's very strange growing up. I used to play games, and I used to think that these English women don't get periods. So they can also, work out during those 5 periods. Only after a very late timing, I've understood it's for every woman. It's not only for Indians. Because as a kid, you don't know things, you just assume sometimes yourself. Oh, lovely. So, ma'am, how did this running come into picture? When did you start running and why?
Yeah, actually, after I moved back to Hyderabad in 98, I made few friends, and then we started traveling. Actually, they are all into traveling. So we were traveling on photography trips and like fun trips, mother and kids, and that kind of combination trips we used to do. Once a few friends said, okay, let's go to Everest Base Camp trek. And I never been to any trek before in my life. So, and we are all like, okay, let's go to Everest Base Camp. I think innocence, ignorance is a place. We didn't know what we were facing. So we went Everest Base Camp with not proper gear or anything. Second day of trek, we reached Namche Bazaar. That's where we stayed 2 nights to buy whatever required, no items or anything. So that's when we saw a lot of these trekkers or climbers coming back, and they're all sunburned and like very fit. And I said, what are we doing here? Because we were not at all into treks, right? And so that's when we came to know there is a Everest Base Camp Marathon happening. It was May 29th, actually. So, yeah, we were actually, it was in 2008, 15 years ago, I guess. So,
we are today, it's 30th of May. So
yes, May 29th is the Everest Day. That is when the marathon was happening. It starts at base camp and comes to Namche. Finish point is Namche Bazaar. So we were all excited. We got Indian flag done. Of course, that flag was in a square shape. That's the best we could get. It was not in a rectangle shape. So we got Indian flag done, and we were at the finish point, holding, cheering the runners, Indian runners. And we saw the runners coming down the mountains, and they were like literally collapsing after running, and their muscles were twitching, and we got so inspired. Some of them didn't even have proper footwear. So we were like so amazed. And we were actually 5 friends and their kids. We were like 10, 11 of us went actually. So on the trek, while trekking to the base camp, we were going on the same path, right? So we're constantly thinking, my God, they ran marathon here, 42 kilometers non-stop. They were running on these mountains where we were taking so many breaks and huffing and puffing. We were like really going very slow because we are going to the higher altitude, right? We are taking it very slow and going. And I said, my God, they ran here. So at least let's do half marathon after going back to Hyderabad at a sea level. On the way back, actually, I started running. One porter accompanied me. I started running. I said, I may not come back here. Like, no, this is that. Like, I always felt it was one-time thing going to the Everest Base Camp. So I said, let me run. I really enjoyed running on the mountains. It was tough, but I really, I was not into long distance running. I was only a fitness trainer who was running max 5 kilometers with my clients. So I really enjoyed running on the mountains. So my friends even called me Rocky Girl, actually. So I was like running, and I came back. We trained for a half marathon. That same year in 2008, we did half marathon. That itself was really thrilling, and we were really excited. So after that, I said, okay, let's try for a full marathon. I took whole 1 year to train for a full marathon.
You went to this trek in 2008 and you came back and trained in the same year and did a half marathon.
Yes, end of November 2008. That was my first half marathon.
First half marathon. So, ma'am, when you did this half marathon, did you train for it with some trainer or you just trained by yourself?
I trained by myself, actually. At that point in Hyderabad, not too many runners are not too much of awareness. So I took one of the known program, Novice half marathon program, and I followed that Hal Hegden Novice program, and I followed that, including
so
strength.
You just downloaded it from the internet and followed it all by yourself.
Oh, those days I never had a computer. I never did anything. I just saw it, took a printout, and I used to keep it in, every day I would just follow that.
Wow. Lovely. I was in Hyderabad in 2008. I would have loved to meet you and go for a run with you back then. But then
you can always come. You can always come. Now you know me.
Yeah, sure. In the future, we'll meet someday. So nice. So after the half marathon, ma'am, did you find it difficult or was it okay for you?
It was okay. I mean, I trained well. I took, I think, 3 months to train for more than 3 months, actually, for a half marathon. It was a strong run. I did in 2:23 or something. I was I felt good.
But you were also training beforehand itself. Your muscles were already strong enough as well. All right. So, ma'am, when you thought about doing a full marathon, so again, how did you train for that full marathon?
Again, I took the same Hal Hegden full marathon novice program. I very diligently followed whatever distance they give. If they say 8.2 kilometers, I would stop at 8.2. Not more or less. It was like that. I followed, including strength training, everything. Actually, I followed their program and I did.
All right. So, ma'am, now when you trained for this, did you used to run alone or were you running with some group or so?
No, my friend Anu and I, who went on the trek, both actually decided to run. We used to run together. They call us soul sisters.
Right,
you can say SOLE or SOUL. We are very close friends and we ran together.
I think that's really nice, ma'am. It's hard to run alone, and that too back in 2018 where you hardly see runners. So having a company, sometimes it's more like partner in crime thing. Yes.
Not 2018, to 2008.
2008, right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. So, ma'am, from there, how did the journey of Everest Base Camp happen? So, 2008, you did your full marathon, and I see that you've done your Everest Base Camp marathon in 2011.
Yeah.
So, was it always in the vision that you will do that Everest marathon one day? How did that happen?
Yeah, when I first did my full marathon in Auroville, 2010 February, I said I have to run Everest Base Camp. That is the run that inspired me. Got me into long distance running, right? So 2010, July, August, July, I think June, July, I went to Kilimanjaro and we summited. So I came back and then I attended someone's talk who spoke about these runs in Himalayas who organize. So I said, do you know anyone who organizes Everest Base Camp? She gave me a contact. She's Kavita Kanpati, you might know her.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she's the one who gave me who ventures who are from Great Britain. So I emailed her, her name is Diane. And I said, I ran a full marathon. I went to Kilimanjaro. I went to Everest Base Camp. I want to run Everest Base Camp marathon. She right away said, no, you're not at all qualified because you don't have any mountain running experience. But I was like very persistent and I went and did a couple of races on the trails actually. Then I did a multi-day race in Himalayas organized by Wind Chasers. He's our friend Ram Setu and Priyadarshini. They organize the multi-day races. So I signed up for the multi-day race, which was in September. So I contacted Bufu Ventures again saying, I'm going to run this multi-day race in Himalayas. Can you please give me entry? Because this race is on 1st of December, that same year. So I think she has seen how much I was like really wanting to do this. She said, okay, I'll give you. Finally, I think she gave up and said, okay, I'll give you an entry. So that's how I got an entry. And my goal was to just complete the run, whatever the hours they give. I wasn't looking at the speed or anything because at that altitude on the terrain, completing the race itself is a accomplishment. So,
so were you not scared of, like, for example, Everest Base Camp Marathon can also be risky, considering it's high altitude, it's too cold, so a lot of factors are involved. So were you not scared, or did you just wanted to do it as such? Did you inquire about how many Indians have run Everest Base Camp Marathon so far? Anything of that sort?
No, I just wanted to go and complete the race. They said they'll give 10 hours. So I said, okay, 42 kilometers in 10 hours. If I walk 4.2 average, I'm fine. So I wasn't worried about falling sick or falling on the route because I know I'll go slow. I'm not competing with anyone. But my worry was they don't have any route markers. What if I get lost? That was my worry. Because sometimes it's not just one track that is going. You have the path deviates. What if I take wrong route and ends up in some other place, right? That was the most worrying part for me. I even lost once actually. I took the wrong path. I climbed so many steps and then realized I took the wrong path. I came back and then joined the main road. So that was my only worry. I think I was too excited or too very determined to complete the race. I didn't worry about the altitude sickness or falling on that trail or anything. Yeah.
Lovely, ma'am. I think especially sometimes not having too much of internet is also a bane. So nowadays people read too much that sometimes, too much of information is bad also. So that time I think the information may be a bit lesser and getting to a point is much harder as you tried many times to pursue the person. So I totally admire that. Absolutely.
Yeah, no one I knew did the race, so I didn't call anyone to find out how the race is. And I know the route already. So because we've been there, I knew how difficult it was. So I was mentally prepared. The diet or anything, whatever I was taking, I was like, fine. I didn't bother much about any of those things.
So, ma'am, also I want to ask you one thing. Now, I think 2005 you left your work as a fitness trainer, and then 2011 you did this base camp marathon. Now, your kids must be in the range of 13, 15, or 17, somewhere around that, in their teens, all three kids, right? Now, as for training these long races, sometimes we have to really run long. So, did you ever feel the guilt of not being with your kids and taking too much time away from them for running, or was it something that was okay for you? I'm just asking you because as a mom, it's very easy to feel the guilt.
Yes, totally understand. Actually, when I got into trekking, it was 2008, right? My daughter was 2004 January born, so she was only 4 years old. So I had a very small kid at home and two sons who are like 10 years or 12 years, like that. Actually, they were all young, very young. So what I used to do while training, I made sure I come home by 7 o'clock, no matter how much I had to run. I would plan accordingly. I wake up accordingly. I go to bed accordingly. So it was like that, all working backwards. So I made sure I complete the run before by 6:30 in the morning, then drive and come back home because I was going to the park. And so I always made sure I come home by 7 o'clock to wake them up and get them ready for school and all. And all the long runs were all weekends. So kids are sleeping anyway. So which was fine. So because of the sun, of course, we always went very early and came back by 8:30 or whatever. So it wasn't bad. But the only time I had to leave kids was when I traveled. And that time my husband made sure he is in town. He is home. And he would take his calls from home. By the time kids come back from school, like 3:30 or 4, he would come back from office. He worked from home. And I had help at home. So it was not that, I never felt guilty because I was very happy that I was able to do it. And my family really supported and they were very proud of my running achievements. So they always when I come back, of course, she was always clinging to me, my daughter. But when I left, she would never say anything. So, she always welcomed me. She used to make beautiful cards. My friends used to look forward to the cards, actually seeing those cards, because she used to make congratulatory cards and very creative way. She would make cards and welcome me. So it was fine. But some runs for example, Everest Base Camp is almost 3-week trip. So I would miss them, but never felt guilty about it.
I think the family also plays a very important role on how much they support and how they make you feel. And that also, I think, depends on the societal culture, because sometimes our friends also make us feel guilty. But at the same time, I think you left your career also because of your kids. So the other part, you could devote them more because you were not working as well.
Yeah. Initially, my family, extended family and few friends were concerned about my health when it comes to say long distance running, not good for knees and all that, and about safety and about me leaving home and spending time or money on these runs. But I would always say it's okay. I'm spending all my time when I'm in town. Only when I travel for my races, it is okay. It's father-kids bonding, right? Otherwise, he is busy. Now he spends time with them, which is good. I mean, you don't have to feel guilty about it. And I always defended myself. I stood very strong. I didn't let any of those comments or concerns bother me. But later on, after maybe a couple of years or something, they also realize what I'm doing is something, good for my health and good for my mental status. And seeing newspaper articles or some, videos or something, then they all said, oh, nice, you're doing something good. And it was just unaware, like they were not aware of all these
and you were representing your country. I think, ma'am, I would really want to say that the kind of runs you've done, it's not only a full marathon or a half marathon or so. So if I just read it out, so ma'am has done Kepler Challenge 60 kilometers in New Zealand. She's the first person from the Indian origin, male and female both. So she's the first person from Indian origin to do it. So, and she's done multiple multi-day races in 2011 and 14, when I think it was not so much of heard of. And she did Ooty Ultra 112 kilometers on her daughter's 12th birthday. So probably that was her way of celebrating it. And then she did Kodaikanal Ultra, also 130 kilometers in Palani Hills. She's also done 6 world majors, that is running the race in 6 different continents in 2015. And I think her husband also followed suit, where he has also done 6 world majors later on as such. So, and she's also done a marathon in Antarctica. That is something I'm not aware if any other, Indian origin women has done it or so. So apart from the normal runs that she's done some spectacular runs, which we as Indians should be absolutely proud of. So, ma'am, do you want to talk to me about, after having done this Everest Base Camp Marathon, how did you think of starting into ultra marathons?
No, it wasn't actually pre-planned. Every full marathon towards end, it was a tough one. We are like always struggling. So once, my friend Anu and I thought, okay, why not do, whether we run a race or not, do at least a 130 kilometer distance, 30s, every month. Then in 2013, we said, okay, run.
How much distance?
30 kilometers every month, definitely one long run, so that mentally you are ready. I mean, when you have to run a race, you are mentally ready, because 30s become easy for you, right? So 40 is not too much. Then in 2013, we said, okay, let's run a full marathon distance every month. So we ended up running every month. We ran a marathon. So that was the time.
42 kilometers.
Yeah, every month I would register for a race somewhere and run. Sometimes they were like only 2 weeks apart, and sometimes 3 weeks. It depends on the races. So that year I ended up running 2 ultras and 13 marathons that year.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we were running those 40 kilometers in Bangalore, I said, okay, let's run a 50 kilometer race. That's how we got into ultra distances slowly.
Okay. So Anu ma'am has been running along with you all this while. You've been running together, is it?
Yeah, until pandemic hit, yeah, we were running together. But I ran some races, different races. She ran different, but some of the runs we ran together.
Okay, yes. All right. So, ma'am, then how come the idea of the 6 world majors came into being, like doing the runs in these 6 different places all together?
Yeah, I always loved that medal, 6-star medal, but I never thought of running as I thought I could not get qualified for the Boston Marathon. Because other races you can run, but the Boston you have to be qualified, right? So I never thought of running world majors. But then I came to know about an organization. It's called 261 Fearless. Catherine Switzer, who ran first woman to run a marathon, Boston Marathon, 50 years ago. Started an organization called 261 Fearless, and she was raising money for cause, for women empowerment through running. So I came to know about it and I applied for that. And I raised money and I got entry into Boston Marathon. I had to raise $7,500 US dollars to get an entry. So like friends and family from India and abroad, they contributed, and I got the Boston Marathon entry. By then, I already did Chicago and other races, Berlin, London. Without planning for a world majors, I ran those races.
Okay.
So after running Boston, all I had to do was in New York and Tokyo. So immediately, I ran those 2 races and completed world majors.
Okay. So, ma'am, I think you must be the first woman to do that. Am I right?
First Indian, maybe, I think so.
Oh,
But
wow.
definitely first Indian to win, like, earn both 6-star medal and 7 continents. And we were the first Indian couple to earn 6-star medal. So
Lovely.
our house is the one with the 2 6-star medals and 7 continent medal in the house.
Oh, lovely. And I can see all the medals at the background. Lovely to see that. So, ma'am, how come this Antarctica marathon, marathon in Antarctica? How did you plan to do that? Like, how could you fathom doing a marathon distance in Antarctica? Sometimes ऐसे लगता है, it feels like thinking of it is also difficult.
No, actually, when I first ran my full marathon in 2000 run, it is Asia. I mean, I ran in India. Then immediately that same year, I ran in Athens, which was like Europe. Then within few months, I ran in US. So I covered 3 continents without planning anything. So that was the time. It was 2011. My husband said, "You already ran three continents. Why didn't you finish the other 4?" I never knew there is a medal for running 7 continents. Actually, my husband just like that said, and I said, "Who will go and run in all continents just for that namesake?" So I never thought of, I never saw the 7 continents medal either. I was just running. Then I ran in New Zealand in 2011 for the Kepler Challenge. So that was like my 4th continent. That was also not planned at all. Then when I got entry to London Marathon through Gauri from Active Holiday Company, she said, if you want entry for Antarctica Marathon 2017 or something, you can register now. I said 2017 is too far. If I can get an entry for 2015, I'm interested. So luckily, I got an entry. Immediately, she could get me an entry to run Antarctica Marathon. So in 2015, I went and ran. On the ship, they were giving those medals to 7 continents finishers. That's when I fell in love with the medal. I said, I got to run remaining 2 continents. So I came back from Antarctica within immediately. I ran remaining 2 continents and I earned the 7 continent medal. So it wasn't planned or anything. I was not aware of the 7 continents medal until I was on the ship. After completing the Antarctica Marathon.
But ma'am, tell me about Antarctica Marathon. How was the experience? How did you prepare for it?
Say, living in Hyderabad, you can never train for the cold. You can only, I did a lot of hill training, a lot of strength training. I did both to be just strong for the race. The cold, you just have to take it as it comes. I mean, we were properly geared and all, but it was very difficult. And especially for someone from here not used to running in snow, definitely you slow down. When you see Canadians or Americans or other European, they don't stop when they see snow. They just run very casually. But no, I would just stop, walk on the snow slowly, then start running. It was like that. So yeah, it was difficult for us going from Hyderabad.
Was it scary also? One can fall down, break their bone or something like that. Like, did any of that thought come into picture? Or any of your family tried to stop you?
No, nothing. Antarctica Marathon, it was mostly flat ground, so it was not scary. Other races like, Kepler Challenge in New Zealand was very scary. Because you are running on mountain ridges, both the sides it is a slope, and if you trip and fall, no one can find you. It was like that. It was like a very narrow trail going on the ridges of the mountain ridges. So that was very scary. It was very windy, and we saw people crawling there like all fours because the wind would push. So it was scary actually. Kepler Challenge was very scary. I never got scared at Everest Base Camp or Antarctica or anything. But yeah.
Okay. So, ma'am, what made you, as you said, these races are scary, these races are difficult, you have to train hard. But what really prompted you to push forward? What do you get after running all these races? What is your why? Why do you run?
What else? Runner's high. The kick you
Runner.
get out of the races is what you constantly want to challenge, or running a marathon on a regular city roads, or regular runs don't give you kick after a point, though you struggle a lot. It never got easier. I always struggle on every race. I mean, struggle means I slow down, walk, then run, walk, run. It doesn't get easier any means, but when you do something different, more challenging, you're challenging your body and mind. That's when you get the kick. That's when you get the satisfaction, because you are struggling so much. You are training hard. You are struggling mentally and physically, especially the long distances, ultra distances. It's more of a mental game. More than, of course, you need strength, you need the endurance, you need the endurance to run that long, but mind plays a big role in ultra distances.
So, ma'am, what motivates you to put that one step forward, when there is a breaking point? I'm sure in your races, at some point you must have felt कि अब छोड़ देना चाहिए, it's getting too difficult. Everything is paining, legs, knees, and so. So what really makes you move forward even after that pain? What is your thought process at that time?
So most of the races, actually, when I'm tired, I just walk, take the water break, or I'm like, no, fine, I kind of recover quickly. But I remember a couple of races I really wanted to give up. That was one in Masai, Africa, when I did my 7th continent. It was very hot and dry land, and we were running on the riverbed for some time, which was like sand. I was very, very tired. My back started hurting, and it was like a half marathon loop. So whoever did half marathon just were like relaxing. When you had to go the second loop, that was like mentally very tough. No shade. It was very dry. And no, that's a safaris actually. It's very dry land. So that's when I really wanted to give up, but that my 7th continent. So it's like, once I start, no, I had to complete it. This is 7th continent, and I spent so much money going all the way with that package, tour package, and everything, right? So I didn't want to give up. I was like, and then last 7 kilometer, okay, this is the 7 continents medal, 7 more, 6 more. It's like that. I kept pushing myself and completed. That was one race I really wanted to give up. And another one is Goa. Just before my Kodaikanal 130 kilometer, I did Ooty. I went to Ooty and ran 70. I just did 12-hour run. I went as a training part. I completed 50-kilometer race which they organized, and continued my run. I wanted to run 12 hours in Ooty. I covered like 78 kilometers or something. And the next week again, I went to Goa. So I think my body did not recover. And Goa, with that humidity and hilly terrain, I struggled a lot. I took like 6 hours plus something. Many times I wanted to give up. But I said, if I can't walk this much distance, how will I do my ultra 130 kilometers, right? So I said, I cannot give up, because I'm going for 20 plus hour run. I mean, I had to complete this. So those are the 2 races I struggled, but I had something to keep me going. Both
look
races.
Forward to.
Yes.
So I think your goals were higher than what you were already doing. That probably pushed you, right? So
yes.
There was 7 continents medal that you look forward to, and here you will look forward to the next race, which was 130 kilometers in Goa, right? I think that's really nice. We do get tired. I think even in a 10-kilometer race we do get tired, but if we already have set a goal of half marathon, 10 kilometers start feeling easier.
Yes, at 10 kilometers, you might start feeling tired at 6 or 7 kilometers. Then again, you push it. I think full marathon, it is like half marathon, it is always like 13 kilometers, 14 kilometers, you hit the wall, then you recover. It's the same thing with full marathon. And again, ultras, every race has a different points where you hit the wall.
Absolutely. Right. So, ma'am, let's talk about strength. Now, how being a coach yourself, for a couple of years, in fact, for many years, how important do you think strength training or stretching is for a runner as such? And how did you incorporate in your own running?
It's very, very important. I mean, strength and flexibility are very, very important for anyone and for runners too. But some runners, some people focus more on running, not so much on strength and flexibility. But I feel when I got into running, that is what really saved me. All those years of strength training, and I continued strength training. Even when I got into running, I made sure at least twice a week I do my strength training. And after every run or every strength training session, I would stretch. Maybe not so much of yoga, but I would stretch after the runs. But I need to mention something like when I started running for Ooty Marathon, Ooty Ultra. That's when Sunil Menon, he was running ultra distances, and he just started to train. He got into training. That's when I took his advice. Actually, when I ran Ooty, he wasn't training anyone, but I asked his advice, and he really helped me how to stay strong, like during the race mentally, how one has to be like strong and all. He helped me a lot. But later on, when he started training, everyone, I took, like, both my husband and I joined his training in 2016. So for remaining, since 2000, once I joined his training in 2016, he has been giving me very well balanced program, which has like strength, mobility. He gives foundation training, and we do weekly once yoga, running, everything. I've been following his routine, which helped me uh, injury free all these years. Not even a single time I had to stop my runs or races because of the injury. Touch wood, I'm like, I stayed. Like, I think mostly I listened to my body. I never ran just because someone ran sub 4 or sub 5 or something. I never pushed myself. I only challenged myself. Like every race, I want to do my best. So I think that's what saved me from getting injuries, actually.
Okay. So, ma'am, you took, I think, Sunil Menon sir is in Mumbai, right?
No, he's in Hyderabad, but he trains all over. He has clients from, all over. Yeah. He's certified Ironman coach, actually. He's a trainer.
Okay. So, ma'am, tell me, I think this is a very important and very nice point. Being a trainer yourself, you did not shy away from taking training from somewhere else also. So I think that's a very interesting point. Sometimes, we feel like I think the ego point also kicks in for some people.
Yeah.
So very nicely you put it. You were a trainer once, but you did not shy away from taking training lessons from someone else to improvise when it comes to running. So that's really nice. So, ma'am, what's your take on taking training from a coach versus doing it yourself? What do you think is better?
If you have good coach, definitely it is good. I mean, you should, because if you are not aware of how to increase the distance, how to do, you may get injured. I mean, if you have a coach, he will see how you are doing, how you are progressing. Accordingly, he will give the training program. When I trained on my own, I would follow that program and I would listen to my body. But I would never knew how to push. I was afraid to push, myself. Am I going to get injured if I push so much? I wasn't doing interval training because I was worried about, I never liked that speed training part. Even now, I'm not a big fan of the speed training. I'm more of an endurance runner. I mean, I can do longer distances with comfortable pace. But having a trainer helps, and you give the commitment also. Because if you don't have a trainer, you are not accountable, right? You are like, you have to motivate yourself and you have to do it. But when you have a trainer who is watching if you are doing the program or not, you definitely want to follow the program. You don't want to say, okay, I didn't work out, or he will see what you are doing. So having a trainer helps in many, many ways because they take nutrition. For example, Sunil Menon is like well balanced, very good trainer who takes care of like a nutrition part and strength, everything well rounded.
So
Coaching.
are you
It's not
still
just.
taking plans from him, ma'am?
I'm still under him. Yes.
Okay, so it's been many years, since 2016.
2016, past 3 years, I haven't been running marathons, but I still continue his training, my husband and I both, because it's a very, good program. The advice I get, very nice. He really inspires, and I really respect his views and knowledge.
Lovely, ma'am. Yeah. Are you past your menopause stage, the menstrual part?
Yes.
Is that all right? So, ma'am, just wanted to know from, because you've been running since very long, while you were at it, did you use tampons or pads or menstrual cups?
I use the pads
Pads.
because that was the only thing I was used to it, and I didn't feel comfortable changing it. And many races I was running during my menstrual periods actually. Some of the races is like even a worse day. On my second day, I was doing Chicago Marathon and other marathons. It's like that, but I would just put that aside. Like, okay, let it happen. Whatever happens, I'll just run. So, which was tough. During training days, if I'm having menstrual periods, I would give break. But in races, you can't do that. So I would just go and run like that. For about 4 years, I struggled quite a bit because almost monthly, 3 weeks or so, I would have my periods. I would hardly get a break, and like I became anemic because I was continuously in periods. So then Sunil Menon advised to cook in iron pots and like diet and everything he gave because I didn't feel comfortable taking iron supplements.
Okay.
Say they would make me constipated. So I was doing only through diet and cooking vessels, cooking in. That's what Sunil Menon advised me, and I recovered. But it was so due to few health issues, my running has come down. I mean, I couldn't do several races. I mean, the past couple of years, especially because of the menopausal issues and I had even dengue and joint pains and all. So I recovering from all that now. And this year I'm planning to run a marathon after a long break.
Oh, lovely. That's really nice, You always have a vision at the back, but you just chance upon it once you get the chance to do it. But at the same time, all that keep in mind. Absolutely.
So you asked me if I felt guilty when I left my kids and went for runs, right? I didn't feel guilt when I left them and went for my runs, but now that I haven't run in last 3 years, I feel really, really guilty. So I think that guilt is still there, and I want to run a marathon before that dies. Once I lose the guilt, I will not run. So I don't want to lose that. I want to continue my running. So.
Lovely. So, ma'am, because you said you were anemic also, I think from there we'll towards the nutrition part of it. Now, when it comes to running, how did you change? Did you ever change your dietary needs to compensate for all the nutrition that is needed for running? And did you take any supplements like protein supplements or gels? What's your take on that?
I basically didn't change the main 3 meals like my breakfast, lunch, dinner. I was continuing whatever I was taking earlier before getting into running. I'm kind of I'm little conscious about my diet, though I like sweets and once in a while I do eat sweets. But I'm generally conscious about my diet and try to balance, eat a balanced diet. I don't calculate how much I'm eating, but I try to include all food groups. And once I got into running, I was more careful about including the nuts and almonds and so I would soak, and especially since I joined Sunil Menon, he's advising to soak them and eat. So I made little bit more effort in making, eating those things. Fruits and all I would eat generally. Like, I enjoy eating fruits for my breakfast, and I eat. So I didn't do much change in my diet, but of course, before long run, you have to eat something that I had to make sure that I eat before going for run and during the run, all that. But rest of the day diet didn't change much.
So basically, you included almonds, walnuts, all these nuts.
Yeah, figs, dates, and all, like, soak them and eat like that.
Okay. And ma'am, what's your take on protein powders and gels? Do you take artificial gels during the runs?
When we first started running in 2008, initially we didn't know about gels because there were hardly any runners that like we know. Then later on we came to know about the gels that other runners were using. I tried, but I didn't like it. I used the power gel kind of. I used to get them from US. That is one gel I could take. I mean, it didn't make me feel nauseous. But the problem with the gels was I would recover, but again I was hungry after some time.
You were?
During the runs, after some time I would feel very hungry. There are like too many spikes, up and downs in the energy levels. So, but I was taking because I thought I had to take something, right? But later on, when Sunil, when I started training under Sunil, he suggested, he modified a few things, and I felt little better after following those programs. So morning I would before the long run, he would eat banana or curd with something like different honey curd, and I would put chia seeds, soak chia seeds and put in the yogurt. So that was my pre-marathon, pre-long distance diet, which suited my body. Okay. Then during the runs, some hydration mix powder I would drink. And what I like in my runs is the dates. The dates I would keep in a small pouches. I would, I like taking dates. So I can say I'm not on any of those supplements or the protein things. And protein shakes and all, after I come back from my run, I would take that sattu, that chenna powder, that one. I would make that, or I would eat rice soaked in the water the previous night, and I like that. More of natural things that Sunil Menon advised, actually.
So basically, you don't take any supplements at all, mostly as such.
Mostly.
But you have made some dietary modifications.
Yes.
A little bit.
Especially before and after the runs, I would follow what Sunil Menon suggested. I would take the hydration powder though. I usually get it from you something, and I take that some flavor like coconut flavor or lemon flavor, something, some hydration powders I would carry because you need that supplement. You cannot go without them.
Right. So, ma'am, as I think you also told me that your husband has also done world major. So, was he always into running, or was he motivated by you as such? How did he started into running?
Yeah, he was working out. I mean, when I had gym also, he was working out in my gym and all. But he would run like 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers just to get rid of that stress due to work stress. He would just go and run, but not into races. But in 2016, his friend and ran a quarter marathon. It's called 10.5 kilometers somewhere they ran. Then he ran half marathon. That's when I said, why don't you train? Like it was, I think, November 2015 or something. So I told him he can definitely, with the training, he can do a full marathon. So I convinced him to train for a full marathon. That's when Sunil Menon started his training. So both of us joined his training, and under Sunil Menon, he started running marathons. So the first marathon he ran was in world major. Then couple of world majors he ran with me. Berlin was his first world major with me. Then he ran Chicago. Like that, he started running it was a coincidence. He just started running majors.
Mm.
Then I told like, why if you just finish 2 more majors, like, you are done. So that year he ran back to back 3 Tokyo. He ran with me. That was my world major. So he ran with me there. Then he had 2 more, Boston and London. Both are just 6 days apart. I said, just get like, run
Get
and
rid
finish
of
them 6 days. Finish here, like you'll be done with 6 world majors. Next year, you don't know what will come, what may, like, I was like, I don't think I can run back to back. I said, just talk to Sunil Menon. He will advise you. He will guide you. So he ran both, like Boston and London, just the 6 days apart. One is very cold and windy race, and one is like London was very hot and time, like travel, jet lag, everything. But he did world majors. So,
No, I'm sure you kind of really inspired him at the back of the mind, seeing you running all of these years. It must have made things more possible, right? He
yes.
must be seeing you. Now it must have looked more possible as he could see you.
Initially, he was like my manager, booking all my flights, registering my races, and all that thing he was doing. He would know more than me how many races I did. So anything I said, yeah, you ran this many, this was your race, and like that. But then he became my running partner, which was good because he was always busy with his work. So we were spending time running together. I mean, training together, traveling for the races. It was good, actually. Then when he ran 6 world majors, he ended up covering 4 continents, I think, already. So he said, okay, let's go, like, Australia and Morocco. Both of us ran together. Then he said he was planning for Antarctica. And I also said, okay, I'll come and volunteer. He said, come to Antarctica. I said, if you are taking me second time, it's like a bonus. I'm definitely coming to Antarctica. So I signed up second time for Antarctica, his first time and my second time. Then we were supposed to run in 2020, actually. So 2019, he completed all other continents. I told him Antarctica should be the last one where you receive the medal on the ship because I missed it. Because I was not aware of the 7 continents, right? I said, you should get on the ship. That is very special. So he finished other 2 and I also ran with him. He said, you are already running Antarctica and you are already ran in other races. You just run in Australia and Morocco. You will also get 7th continent second time. I never realized that. I told you, right? He does all the calculations. So he said, just run Morocco and Australia with me and you are done 7 continents. So in 2019, I ran with him that Morocco and Australia. Both of us were supposed to go to Antarctica in 2020. Due to pandemic, it got postponed. 2021 also it got postponed. Unfortunately, 22 they moved it to January instead of March. And that was the time it's very peak here, the COVID and all. So I went and before getting on the ship in Buenos Aires, before going there, they test all the runners and I got tested positive. Since he was with me, both of us had to be quarantined. It's a very unfortunate incident because if we were in Hyderabad, at least we were home. If we are on the ship, at least we are on the ship going on Antarctica, even if you don't run. A very bad place to get stuck in Buenos Aires hotel, both of us in separate rooms, isolated, quarantined. Yeah, that thing didn't happen. Otherwise, I would have been, that was the second time 7 continents. I would have won, got second time. And for him, the first time. So maybe 2025, we'll go.
Oh, wow. So, ma'am, I wish you very good luck and I will look forward to that.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Yes, do let me know. But I think lovely journey. You both pushed each other. It's not only you. He also pushed you into running, doing more and more races. Lovely. It's, I think, absolutely, when your partner really pushes you forward, it feels very nice. Right?
Yes, it does.
Absolutely. From there, I think, ma'am, we will move on to the last 2 questions. The last being, the second last being, what's your future goals or vision apart from definitely another marathon in Antarctica? Any other goals that you have in mind?
Right now, for this year, I just want to start running marathons again. So once I start, I think I'll get that confidence. So now I'm wondering, did I really run that much distance? How can I do it now? I don't have that confidence now because I haven't run in 3 years. I've been training. I mean, I'm running, but not long distances, not any race. I haven't run any race. So I want to see how I feel. I'll start with one race this year, maybe towards the end of the year, October or something, because I want to give time. I want to train properly. And once I run that, I think running bug again bits. So I think I'll start running.
Yeah, absolutely, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, from there we'll move on to the last question. Any message to people out there who are listening to you as such?
The advice that I can give is don't assume any obstacles. Don't think you cannot do it. Don't think your family will not support. Don't think your health will be impacted or anything. Don't assume anything. You can do it. If you put your mind to it, just keep going. But listen to your body. Don't push it because someone else is doing like that or anything. Listen to your body. Enjoy every day of your running, every day of your fitness journey. Anything. Actually, I feel not only fitness, any hobby you want to develop at this age, don't think it is too late. Anyone can start anything at any age. I even learned Kuchipudi for a few years recently. Yes, Kuchipudi dance, because as a child I wanted to learn and I couldn't learn it. But I did actually while training for marathons. I could do that. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. Things will work out. Things will fall in place. People will support. Don't think your husband cannot will not support, or your kids will struggle, miss you or anything. Don't assume any obstacles. Just go for it. You will do it.
Just go for it. Things will fall in place. I think that's a beautiful message. With that, ma'am, it was wonderful to talk to you, and you look absolutely beautiful and stunning. So thank you so much for spending time with me, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mina. Thank you so much.